Super Mario Party Jamboree has been out for a few weeks now, and I think I've come to a decisive list of my favorite boards in the game. Now, while I'm ranking these 7 boards, do keep in mind that this is all just my personal opinion, so my list may differ from yours, and my reasons for liking or disliking a board may differ from yours. So, let me know down in the comments down below what your favorite board is, or what your least favorite board is, or you can rank all 7 of them. Do whatever you want down in the comments down below. So, without any further ado, let's get into the list of my top 7 favorite boards in Super Mario Party Jamboree. At number 7, we have Roll 'Em Raceway. I kind of figured that this board was going to be in last. It was definitely the one I was least excited for going into it. And when I played it, I definitely kept that opinion of it being my least favorite. Now, the thing is with this board, it's not a bad board. I just want to say that none of these boards, in my opinion, are bad. This is the one that I had the least fun playing because of the fact that I could not roll high to save my life, and this board kind of relies on you rolling high. I even used the turbo dice, you know, this 4 dice block item, and only managed to roll a 10. So given that I just was not rolling high that game, it led to me not enjoying the board as much, and it's a real shame because I feel like this board has a lot of potential and there's a lot of good things about it, like the fact that this board is really interesting with the traps, given that it's all really one straight path that you're going down. The traps are absolutely lethal on this board, and I really do like how it does impact the board play, but the very nature of this board definitely makes it my least favorite. Next up is Mega Wiggler's Tree Party. I feel like this board is good at being basic. Now, that sounds like a real dig at it, it sounds like an insult, but it's really not. It's just the most standard, simple board of the bunch, and I feel like it does what it sets out to do pretty decently. It's a good starter board, it introduces you really to the concepts of the game, and it's just a really easy board, and I feel like even though typically in the past I do like the simpler boards, I feel like the other boards in this game do kind of rank above this one just for being a little more interesting and having some more complex things to them. And going off of that, the main thing I don't like about this board is that there aren't that many events to the board. Yeah, there's the Mega Wiggler event, but that's the real main thing of the board. Like, yeah, you have the Piranha Plants and the Beehive, but there's not really much else to this board. It's pretty standard. And again, just because I say all that does not mean I don't like the board, it's just kind of middle of the road to me. King Bowser's Keep is next up on the list, and honestly for me this one also suffered from the fact that I was not rolling high, so I was stuck in that middle section for a lot of the game. But what I will give this board over something like Roll 'Em Raceway is just the potential for absolute chaos on this board, where you have, you know, Bowser spaces littered in that middle section where whenever you land on one, anything that Bowser steals from you gets put in this kind of free parking like vault that if you can figure out the combination, you can win everything in that vault, and you just, you know, instantly can win depending on what's put into the vault. And then of course on top of the 2 boos on the map, the different paths that you can go down, the different strategies of how to navigate the board, I think this one is really good and there's a lot of potential for chaos. I just need to play it a little bit more and have better dice rolls to have a better time on this board, but for now I think this is a fair spot to put it. So Mario's Rainbow Castle is up next, and this is the only board on this list that when I first made this list a little while ago, I actually had it much lower, again because of the issue of A, that I didn't get enough dice rolls, but also because I did not play for a long game on this board. I only played a 15-turn match. But going back to it, I believe I played like a 20 or maybe 25 turner, but I do believe it might have been a 20 turner on Mario's Rainbow Castle, and it was much more fun. This is a board that benefits from playing for a longer period of time. Because when you're playing on it for a longer period of time, you get more time to set traps for people to land on traps, and of course, given the linear nature of this board, it gives people more time to actually get up to Toad or Bowser to, you know, have either get a star or lose 20 coins, whichever. and I think it was a retro board executed pretty dang well. Of the 3 returning Mario Party 1 boards between this game and Superstars, to me, this is the only one that really benefited from the item shop. The item shop was done super cleverly, with the rotating mechanic that is typically left to the star up top also applying to this item shop down here, and I think it is done pretty well. And like with Roll'em Raceway, the traps here are absolutely crucial because of the fact that it's a linear path, and the traps play a much bigger role here, especially if you use them in crucial areas like the very bottom or very top of the board. It's just a board that can get super crazy with long game sessions, but I do feel like that's the key with this board. You have to play it for longer sessions to really get the most out of this board. Next up is Rainbow Galleria. Now, I feel like people are going to come at me for not putting this in the first spot, and I'm going to be completely honest. The top 3 boards are almost interchangeable because they are all a lot of fun, so I don't want people to think that this is number 3 because of the fact that I think the first 2 are so much better. All 3 of these boards are very much interchangeable, but I have Rainbow Galleria here because of the fact that I really do like this board. It is a top tier board, definitely the most unique in terms of locations and settings for a Mario Party board, and I definitely really applaud it for that. I love that this board has a sense of verticality, and you can traverse this board in many different ways, either using the escalator or using the elevator, and it just lends to this board feeling really immersive, and I do really like this board. I will say, I did kind of unintentionally break this board when I played it though. I basically kept looping the 1 coin item shop on the very bottom of the board, then I went up to the lottery on the 2nd floor, and because of the fact that I kept shopping from the 1 coin item shop, I was able to use the lottery 7 times and gain like, I think around 100 coins. Like, it was insane. Oh, and because I had an ally, I was able to use Boo twice and steal 2 stars. It was absolutely insane. The only reason that this board is not above the other 2 is, honestly, I can't even really describe it, but I just like the other 2 boards more, and I'll get into why I like those other 2 boards more when I talk about those boards in, themselves. But rest assured, this is a top quality board. This is another one kind of like Roll'em Raceway that I wasn't sure on initially. I wasn't sure if I was going to love it or if I was going to hate it, but upon playing it, I really did like this one, and I think it is a top quality Mario Party board. Next up, we have Goomba Lagoon. This was such a fun one. I have played multiple long games on this one, and I can safely say this is my favorite new board that is in this game. Firstly, the rising and sinking tide mechanic. While I know many people will find that annoying, I feel like it makes items like the warp pipe and the warp block even more valuable. If you're not happy with being stuck on a particular island, then warp away and see where it ends up taking you. And the fact that this board does have 2 boos really makes it even more fun, as I always love boards that have more than 1 boo. Though I will say, those boos are kind of locked to the low tide, so it doesn't make them super easy to get to where those boos become overpowering. I just think this board is a super fun one to navigate. The item play on this board is really top tier, and I think that it is just the strongest new board this game has to offer. I think the thing that sets this above Rainbow Galleria, in my personal opinion, has to do with the tide. It increases the amount of strategy that you have to do when planning your moves. Because sure, if you get really bad dice rolls, you're gonna be stuck in a loop for a little bit. But if you plan accordingly, get certain items like warp blocks, warp pipes, whichever, you can plan accordingly and try to figure out a way to avoid being screwed over by the tide. Again, like with Rainbow Galleria being down in 3, I do feel like this is one that not many people are going to agree with, and I completely understand why the tide mechanic might annoy you, but personally, it is what makes this board to me, and I really do like it. Up at number 1, you figured it out, we have Western Land. Now, this is how to do a returning board. Not changing it too much to where it feels unrecognizable from what the original did, but giving it some really good modernizations and doing some things to make it even better. I feel like getting rid of the Koopa Bank was the best decision for this board. I was never a fan of Koopa Banks to begin with, so getting rid of it, absolutely perfect in my personal opinion. Steamer the Train works just as he did in the original, which I, again, really do like. And the one thing that I feel like really sets this board above everything else is the item play here, the items that you're able to buy. You are able to get the 2 Star Trap item from turn 1. You do not have to wait until the second half of the game to get that item, and I feel like it just makes the board play even better. Like setting up star traps around the Hootenanny area and then later in the game calling everyone to said Hootenanny to try and get them to activate your traps. Oh, it is glorious. I feel like there is so much chaos to be had on that board. It is so masterfully remade, and the music on top of everything else is just amazing. And honestly, this board, being as big and expansive as it is, having that masterful item play, and just being a great and faithful remake, this just makes this board above the rest the best board. And I feel like that is, I want to say unarguable, but I know there's going to be people who disagree, but I think this board is the best board in the game. So what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments down below what your favorite board from Super Mario Party Jamboree is. I would truly love to hear what you all have to say. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I really hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, and subscribe. All that stuff down below. Click that notification bell so you can be notified of when I upload videos. And of course, check out the merch store. There's some cool Zack Pack merch up on there for you to check out. And until next time, you guys, I will see you all in the next video.